Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just wait for people to join in. Thank you. I can see people already joining. Oh, thank you, Stephen, for joining. If you can hear me, it's really good to see you joining. It was last minute. Stephen is the managing director for Kobo 360 in Ghana. I also have Adekunle in already. And my boss is in as well, Katerina Felgenau. Thank you for joining, Kat. So we wait a few more minutes, 2 minutes, and then we can start.
Very good.
Good. Nice to have you, Kristen. Thank you for joining. We'll be starting shortly, please. This is going to be a very interactive and engaging session. I'm sure Dinant and Kwasi are ready to engage with the Nigerian participant. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I think we can start in 1 minute. We have a few more people to join. So. Welcome, Afisu. Thank you for joining. Okay. While people are joining, I think we can just kick off immediately. As a quick introduction, my name is Olasukomi Akindele. I'm the project manager for Competence Center Agribusiness at the delegation of German Industry and Commerce here in Lagos. As the delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Lagos, we represent German business interests, and by facilitating international trade, export promotion, and of course, deepening the German-Nigerian business relation. It is our pleasure to welcome you all this afternoon to this very auspicious occasion of this product webinar. It is part of our ongoing webinar. This is sponsored also by the VetSharp Network Africa, a part of a consortium that we already implement this project with. As part of this project, we are consulting businesses from Germany with technologies, products, and services, especially for the food and logistics industries. And today we have Schmitz Cargobull in the house. Reading through Schmitz Cargobull's products brochure, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'll leave all that to you to deal with. And if you don't mind, in just 1 or 2 minutes, please just introduce yourself. Dinant, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ola. So my name is Dinant Nijhoff from Schmitz Cargobull. I am the business development manager responsible for the Western African region, together with my colleague Kwesi. I'm a Dutchman, 30 years old, from the Netherlands officially, so I work for a German company. Yeah, we will introduce Schmitz Cargobull later on, but I think that's good for a first introduction. Thank you very much for joining, everyone.
Thank you. Kwasi.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's really nice to meet all of you. Kwesi Ntiche is my name. I come from Ghana. So West Africa is my terrain. I've been in the project financing, especially with the German Export Credit Agency, the financing concepts, etc., for about 7 years now. And what I've been doing all this while is basically to help bridge the gap between German technology and African consumers. And I've been doing this, like I said, for 7 years now. I joined Schmitz Cargobull just this year. and it's really been a nice journey so far, and looking forward to do more business in Africa, I would say.
Thank you. As a quick overview, what we hope to achieve with this webinar is to have Schmitz Cargobull introduce its product range and existing opportunities, particularly for prospective buyers, distributors, or even marketers or businesses who need trucks, semi-trucks, trailers, temperature-controlled freight, and especially general cargoes and bulk goods. As whatever transport solution or whatever transport needs that you have, Schmitz Cargobull has everything you need in the box. So why should I deny you the time to just let the cat out of the box this afternoon? Before I invite Dinant, I'd just like to play a short intro about Schmitz Cargobull. Give me a second. Sure, most of you have seen this, but if you can see the screen, let me know. Okay, here we go. Dinant, please, you may take the floor.
Yes, I will start sharing my screen. One moment. Please tell me if it is visible. Let's see. Yeah.
Yes, we can see your screen.
So thank you very much for joining, everyone. It's, as I said, Dinant Nijhoff from Schmitz Cargobull, the Business Development Manager, together with my colleague, Kwesi Tiche from Ghana, also present in Germany. We both work for Schmitz Cargobull. Schmitz Cargobull is a company that produces Schmitz or semi-trailers. Not only semi-trailers, also, as you are able to see here, vehicles, let's say box body vehicles and trailers, which is, again, a bit different from the semi-trailer concept. Main focus is semi-trailers, but these box bodies are also a very large part of our product portfolio. I'm trying to move on to the next slide here. Yeah, very rich history, let's say, for our company. We have been around since 1892, so becoming 129 years this year in September. So we are actually 129 years by the end of this month. As I said, a very rich history. So the first trailers and bodies were produced in 1935. The refrigerated semi-trailers, which is a very, let's say, which is one of the most important products in our portfolio, and is also where we are the absolute leader in terms of world leader in terms of product, let's say, in the innovation part of that scene since the 1950s already. Our expansion in the Middle East in 1974. As said, we are a company with a very rich history. Opened a factory in Melbourne, Australia last year, and looking for expansions all over the world, let's say, within the next few years. Within our strategy for 2030, let's say, Schmitz Cargobull is looking to be the global leader in terms of semi-trailers. If you would, 1 second. What does that mean, let's say, in terms of our company? So we are a company with an approximate 2 billion turnover every year. and production in units that turns down to, let's say, we always strive to be in the 50 to 60,000 vehicles annually range, let's say. That is a bit different for the past couple of years. As you can see, 2019, 2020, of course, beginning of 2020, COVID hit, let's say, and that had an impact on our vehicle production as well. But 2020, 2021, you see that it is already going up, and there is, as for a lot of vehicle manufacturers in the world at the moment, an enormous peak in terms of production, in terms of sales, also in terms of material cost. And so we expect an enormous spike, or we already see an enormous spike for 2021, 2022. What does let's say that mean in terms of vehicle production? The three plants that you see in the middle here are our main plants in Germany. Altenberger is where we produce our platform and curtain-sided trailers. One of our largest plants with the largest capacity as well, approximately 29,000 vehicles produced every year. The capacity, let's say, to produce a trailer every 6 or 7, every 6 or 7 minutes. And this is also where we produce our own axles. So Schmitz Cargobull does not only produce the semi-trailer itself or the box body itself, let's say, we also produce the axle that drives the vehicle. And so this is also very nice to know that Schmitz Cargobull is one of the largest 9-ton axle producers in the entire world due to this, because an approximate 92 to 95% of all of our trailers are equipped with Schmitz Cargobull axles. Then if you look at our plant in Gotha, Gotha is where we produce our semi-trailer tippers. A different type of vehicle, but also a vehicle where we are very strong, the market leader for tipper in the European market as well. It takes a bit longer to produce a tipper, as you're able to see, but it's also not a dense market as is, for example, the curtain-sided market. Vreden is where we produce our refrigerated semi-trailers. I will get to that later on, let's say, to show you a small part of our product portfolio. But this is also a plant where we are able to produce a trailer every approximate 12 minutes, 25,500 vehicles produced annually. Very impressive, let's say, and the technology in terms of the refrigerated trailers, compared to other trailer manufacturers, is really unmatched. Next to the 3 largest plants in Germany, we have a lot of smaller plants as well. For example, in Zaragoza, Spain, Adapazari, but Todin Panavecis in Lithuania is a very large plant as well, where we produce box bodies, refrigerated box bodies, and also dry freight box bodies. We'll not drill into that too much, but as you're able to see, we are scattered across the world. Next to this, it's also maybe very interesting to know, Schmitz Cargobull has bought a very large stake in a South African company as well in 2018. It's not represented in this slide yet, but we'll make sure that that is added, which shows you, let's say, that especially over the last 5-6 years, our focus is really on globalization of the brand. Africa is a main focus of ours already since that time. We have started in the southern part. We are expanding to the western part very much in the last years. We have already closed multiple larger opportunities in that stage, and let's say, but we are now looking to really expand. We are a company that does not want to focus on, let's say, the one-off deal. We are in for the long run, as you're also able to see here, for example, with major commitments that we make in these countries, for example, Melbourne, Australia, where we've really set up our own plant, and as South Africa, where we've also bought a very large stake in a semi-trailer producing company, and where we're also setting up our own production line for refrigerated trailers. So we are doing major investments in the region as well. On to our product portfolio, let's say a grasp out of our product portfolio. We are a company that that is able to diversify very much in terms of the products that we sell. We are not only a company that provides the one-off deal as said, let's say. We also look to provide complete solutions for clients. If we focus on assembly, of course, that's a bit of a different part, but we also sell trucks, for example, if should this be necessary in a deal, but we can drill into that later on. The first, in terms of our product portfolio, is tipper vehicles. As you're able to see here, especially the tipper body, let's say, for the 8x4 truck is something very interesting for the Western African region. We have a new product in our portfolio, of which the first prototypes are being produced at the end of this month. That's why for these 4-axle vehicles, we only have a drawing in, but we will be able to share pictures of that vehicle, let's say, in the prototype stage within the next weeks. We are adapting our portfolio, let's say, to fit to the Western African market. As said, we are fully committed to move further, let's say, from here on. And as said, for tipper vehicles, we are also the market leader in Europe, especially, and now expanding to the African region. Refrigerated vehicles. This is a part where we are really able to differentiate from other producers. We have a very special technology for our refrigerated trailers that we have patented, I believe, in 1978. So patent has run out by now, but we see that a lot of people are copying this technology since the patent has run out. Still, we have a major advantage in terms of the technology, of having the technology for so long, being able to really focus on the development of that technology. And still, until today, we are unmatched in the quality of the refrigerated vehicles and the quality of the let's say the refrigeration quality. So if you look at the K value of our vehicles, this is really unmatched all over the world. And as you can see, this is also a product where we very much diversified. So we do build, let's say, these high coupling heights for refrigerated trailers, which are very necessary for the region as well. So we see we do have special versions, let's say, for the off-road trucks. This is a product where we most definitely see an enormous potential in the region as well. We know that it's not very common until today, but this is a product portfolio. This is a part of our product portfolio where we see enormous growth for the future of especially the Western African region. Not only that, we also have dry freight trailers, let's say, that use the same technology, more or less, which are then, for example, for the transportation of mobile electronics, dry freight, clothing, tobacco, also a very important one. Yeah, as said, this is a product where we feel very comfortable to say that we are the #1 worldwide. Then we have our curtain side, or let's say the vehicles that we use for our general cargo. This is, again, a product where we have been successful in the region already. As you're able to see here, this is a large delivery that we've done to a company in Togo. And this is a product where we focus on, let's say, the packaged goods, the palletized goods. We also have a flatbed version of this available as well. Very much interesting for breweries, for drinks producers. All the necessary documentation and certification is available for these vehicles as well. The beverages and containers, coils, also very interesting. Let's say, I know that that there is a difference, let's say, in terms of transporting these coils in the Western African region and the European region, let's say. but this is something where we're most definitely able to learn from each other. And this is the way this is done in Europe is very, very interesting, let's say, and will not be astray on your capacity in terms of the transport. And as said, very specialized vehicles, but we also do these flatbeds with twist locks, etc. Very interesting for the region as well. Pneumatic dry bulkers, this is, let's say, this is a part where we focus on for the past few weeks as well, with existing clients in the Western African region. What this also should represent is that we most definitely do have a very diverse product portfolio. We are not only able, let's say, to produce the standard European trailer, we are also able to focus, let's say, on the markets and on the requirements in these markets. And the pneumatic dry bulkers, at least in this capacity, is one of them. For cement transport, flour, lime, we have them available, as you are able to see here, until 65 cubic meters. These are also very interesting for the region as well, most definitely. Not only that, we also next to this have fuel tankers, not put in a separate slide for those, but we have a very diverse product portfolio. So fuel tankers, tippers, large capacity tippers. We have fuel tankers in terms of semi-trailers, but also fuel tankers as in terms of box bodies. So building to build on the tractor or let's say the chassis. A very diverse product portfolio. So if that should most definitely not be a concern moving forward, we are very much able to deliver a very diverse product portfolio. This also very interesting for the Nigerian market, which is the focus today. And we do see, let's say, that the import duties for Nigeria are very, very steep. Therefore, we believe that it is very important that we focus on local assembly, which is also a concept, let's say, that we use in a lot of markets. Usually, let's say, not only, of course, to save on shipping or transport costs, but next to this also, let's say, to have some sort of local content and also save in terms of customs duties, etc. As you're able to see here, our flatbed and curtain-sided trailers, we're able to completely knock these down. You could see the buildup of this, let's say, in terms of 3 consoles, so axles, suspension, the chassis, and whatever's built on top. The same for the refrigerated part. The refrigerated vehicles, they do require a little bit more know-how, but we're able to help our partners with this locally. Next to that, we of course have, let's say, the same as you see here. So in terms of the either the plateau or the curtain-sided vehicle, we have the same for our box body vehicles. And as you can see, as we have for the refrigerated trailers, we have the same for the box body vehicles, let's say, to build on trucks locally. Yes, as said, we are able to diversify. We're able to help our partners locally. We're able to train partners locally. We do not only focus, let's say, on the first sales part. We also help partners assemble. We help partners with after sales. We help partners to become our service partners, train them in the know-how of these products, supply spare parts for these vehicles in the countries themselves, which is all a major benefit if you look at our competitors. Then as well, a very interesting part of this webinar, let's say, is the financing part of this. We see that in the Western African market, let's say, financing for a lot of partners is or can be a problem. We have looked into multiple schemes, if you will, in terms of helping our partners with these with financing concepts. We have already closed a number of deals with this same concept. This is one of the concepts that you see here. So this is something that we have done in the past as well, which has worked very accurately together with Euler Hermes. Let's say to really get a good grip on how this works, we're always able to speak to each other face to face, let's say, but I'll give you a small overview here. How this works is that there is a lending bank, usually in Germany, which is supported by an export credit agency. So if you have heard of Euler Hermes, for example, is an organization that does this for the German state. A client is checked in terms of its credibility, etc. And if Euler Hermes approves this client, let's say for the amount that is requested, they are able to support the lending bank in giving a guarantee for the client, let's say, giving a guarantee over 85% of the total sum to be financed, and over this 85%, they will be able to insure 95%. The 15% remaining is always a down payment, which is a must in these schemes as well. So this 85% is being credited, let's say, or loaned out to the client, and of this 85%, 95% is covered by this export credit agency, which enables this German bank to give very attractive financing conditions to clients in, for example, Nigeria, name it, Togo, Senegal, Ivory Coast, name it. That's really not really dependent on where they are, let's say. So how this works then is Schmitz Cargobull sets up an offer, negotiates with the client the terms of delivery, let's say, closes the purchasing contract. The client then pays this 15%, which is a must, to Schmitz Cargobull, and then the production of the vehicle starts. Then upon delivery of the vehicles to the client, whichever the terms of delivery are, whether that is Ex Works, whether that is FCA, West European Port, or CIF Lagos, then in the moment that these goods are delivered, also with partial deliveries, the entire, or let's say the amount owed by the client to Schmitz Cargobull officially is paid by the lending bank to Schmitz Cargobull, and then the loan agreement, let's say, comes into action, and the loan repayment starts by the client. And this is a very attractive financing solution. It really depends on a case-by-case basis, let's say, the financial strength of a company, the country where it's situated, etc., which determines the interest rate, but I can tell you that it's very, very attractive. But as said, this is really determined on a case-by-case basis, but really very attractive. As said, the loan repayment then starts, let's say, and depending on the terms agreed upon with the lending bank, which can be 5 years, which can in some cases be 7 years, and if depending on the product can be 10 years. But for us, let's say, in terms of the commercial vehicles, it's usually a period between 5 and 7 years, and the loan repayment begins to the lending bank in Germany. And that is that is a very, very attractive financing solution for clients, especially in that region, as your interest rate usually are a lot higher than what the lending bank is able to offer in this scenario. If there are more questions regarding this, then let's do that at the end of this presentation. But as I said, it is very interesting for clients abroad. Yes, that's, I believe, it from my side. I hope that it was clear. If there are any questions, then please feel free to ask. We'll move into an open discussion now. Feel free to ask anything. It would be really good if we're able to let's say, to introduce ourselves, let's say, and get to know each other, ask our questions, and taking this into the future, which is the goal.
Okay, thank you very much, Dinant, for the quick one. There are already about 3 questions in the Q&A box. So we can take that while we wait for other questions. The first one is, are you also involved with shipping, logistics, or port terminal operations?
Are we involved in that? And is that in terms of products, or are we able to ship our products abroad?
There's no name here, but if you're still in the house, please just unmute and let me know if that's your question, then we can clarify that and move it on. While we wait for that, there is also a question around how do you plan to adapt your products to the local context in Nigeria and Africa? This is from Adekunle Olushile.
1 second, sorry, apologies. How we are planning to adapt our products. Let's say this is something that we do with our local partners. Depending on the product, let's say the attractiveness of this product, we are able to adapt products, let's say, to any scenario. That's really not the problem. If you look at, for example, what is mainly used in the Nigeria, or let's say in the Western African market, or what's very popular is, for example, this flatbed solution with twist locks. This is something where we are able to adapt. Let's say we are able to find solutions for this, but as said, this is really done on a case-by-case basis. So, for example, if you look at the tipper, which is a product that we very much have adapted to the local market already, and this is a product where we've started with approximately half a year, 7 months ago. Where we've said, okay, we've seen, let's say, that our tipper in the market did not really fit, did not really have a technical fit to what the clients required. We have adapted this product together with a client locally, let's say, given their concerns in terms of the current product portfolio, have told us exactly what they required, let's say, and we have then started this the research and development phase. We've gone over what is required in these markets, also per legislation, go into research and development, etc. The product in the end is approved, and then adapted to the market, approved, produced, and introduced locally. So we are able to adapt really on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, I think I have one hand up. Adekunle, if you just go ahead and ask your question, please.
Okay, hello. Hi, Dinant. Nice
Hi.
to see you again. After our conversation in Germany. I think I asked this question earlier on, and you gave an answer, but maybe for the benefit of the other participants on this webinar, it might be good for you to also repeat. I asked then that if you are familiar with our road in Nigeria, for example, you find trucks tipping over because some part of the road are bad. Can your trucks return, or what are the preventions, or what are the maybe capabilities that you have in the products that can help prevent trucks tipping over when it gets to rough roads?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say this is a major advantage to our products as well. Let's say, of course, I know that the general idea between European products is that they are very expensive, qualitatively very good, but expensive. That is the general understanding. However, let's say with the technologies coming from Europe, this is a very important part, let's say, of the unique selling points that we have, is that there are systems in place that very specifically prevent trucks from tipping over. This, for example, if you were to compare our products to what you would be able to get locally, I don't want to name any countries where these products would come from, but this is, let's say, we take a, let's say, if we look at the difference between our products and the products mainly sold in the market today, then that is that, let's say, that there is a European focus on safety, for example. And safety doesn't have to mean expensive, let's say. Safety, let's say, there's a system in our vehicles that very specifically prevents our trucks from tipping over. We're able to go into a lot of details here, but what it more or less does is that in the moment that it detects that one wheel is in the air, it brakes the other wheel very heavily, in which there's, let's say, the forces move away from that and go going into the front section of the vehicle, by which the vehicle comes down again. Again, this is, let's say, very easily, or let's say very in layman's terms explained, but it works. The vehicle does not tip over. We've got, I can show you videos about this as well, but this takes back the likelihood of a vehicle tipping over by 85 to 90%. So very good question. Thank you very much. And yes, most definitely. And I know that there's, let's say, that there's an enormous difference in the European road.
Sort of the quantity of goods within the truck per time. Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about your telematic, add-on service?
Absolutely. So what we, as you said, what we've seen as well for the past 10, 11, 12 years even, let's say, is that telematics is becoming much more of an issue than it was in the past. So it's increasingly more important to know where the vehicles are. So a lot of transport companies focus on the truck, of course. Where's the truck? When will it arrive here? When will it arrive there? Schmitz Cargobull has set up its own telematics system. Fun fact is that Schmitz Cargobull was the first semi-trailer manufacturer that in Western Europe at the moment, I believe in the moment, is run in Sweden, Finland, and I believe Denmark, the Netherlands, Germany, and a few more countries in Western Europe, is that no vehicle is supplied without telematics. So with Schmitz Cargobull for these countries, it is no longer an option to deselect telematics. It is a standard option in our product portfolio because we believe that it is vital for our clients. If you look at the vehicle behind me here, which is a refrigerated vehicle, for a vehicle like this, if you order our telematics package, let's say, then you're able to see, for example, what is the temperature inside the vehicle? When have the doors of the vehicle been opened? How many kilometers has the vehicle run today, or the last week, or the last year, etc. There's even packages, let's say, you're able to go as far as, for example, what is the tire pressure in each one individual tire? What is the axle pressure at the moment? So how heavily is the vehicle laden? The possibilities are endless, and this is very interesting. And not only, let's say, for the general cargo vehicles, where you're able to see the location, what is the load, let's say, how heavy is the vehicle laden, how much space is there on the vehicle, for example, with which vehicle is it coupled. But let's say going into tippers, for example, where you're also able to see the weight per axle, etc. But the refrigerated vehicle, where you have so much more options, even, let's say, if you want to know, this vehicle has been standing still in a yard, for example, for a day or 2 days. What is how much fuel is left for the refrigerator in the front, for example? Possibilities are endless, and that's very interesting. Where a lot of people focus on the truck, we should not forget that the cargo that you're transporting, let's say the value item that you're transporting, is in the trailer, or is in the refrigerated body, or is in your tipper bucket, or that is where your product is. And in cases, for example, such as tobacco or meat, etc., where this cargo is so valuable, that is much more important to know how your cargo is doing than where your truck is. Let's see. I'm not able to see this Q&A at the moment. I can see if there's availability of spare parts. Not able to. You are muted.
Oh, you're muted.
You are muted, Ola. I'm not sure if you're talking, but.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Mr. Musa Mohammed, please go ahead and ask your question.
I don't know if you could hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much for your very nice presentation. My questions, or I would say my direct question is with regards to the low purchasing power in Nigeria at the moment, or in Africa in general, depending on the dollar or the euro exchange rate. Are your product also probably cost-friendly for the African market? I mean, considering the exchange rate.
I'm sorry, Dinan, before you answer, Mr. Musa, please, could you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Mohammed Musa. I am a Nigerian. I am presently living and working in Germany here, and I previously had work to do with transport and logistics and so on.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Dinan.
Yes, in terms of the purchasing power, let's say, yes. Again, dependent on the vehicle. And for example, if you would compare our flatbed to what's produced in Asia, for example, then yes, we are more expensive, absolutely. If you were to look at the refrigerated vehicles, for example, then we are, even in terms of price, rather competitive. Not to every competitor, of course, but if you look at the purchasing price of such a vehicle, let's say, and the amount of money that's required to produce such a vehicle in any case, not even depending on quality, then such a vehicle is always in the more expensive range. But we are much more able, or let's say much more able to compete because we produce so many. Because of the line production, etc., let's say the advantages that come to let's say purchasing these parts, etc., in bulk, again makes us price competitive. So not in all cases, yes, absolutely, but yeah, it's I'm not sure how fair it is to compare one product to another, let's say. You should most definitely compare apples to apples. Expensive in some cases, let's say, if you purely look at the purchase price of a vehicle, then yes, we are expensive, absolutely. But if you look over the lifetime of the vehicle, then we most definitely are not. I believe that should be the focus. And again, as said, depending on the product, so looking at the product, at the refrigerated product, for example, looking at a tipper product is, yes, we are also a bit more expensive than the competition, but if you look at steel, etc., those prices are they are the same for everyone. The labor that comes in, etc., of course, then again there's a price difference, but again, seeing in how much time it takes to produce a vehicle of ours versus competitors, then again we are price competitive.
Okay, I mean another, sorry?
Yeah, maybe just to add something little to what Dinant also said, this is why we also have a very attractive financing concept to attach to our products, because then basically what happens is then the costs for probably getting loans for local loans, etc., for some of these equipments or some of these machines, we basically subsidize that because of the financing concept that we have. So in the end, well, like Dinan said, if you compare, it might be expensive, but what would it cost you to get it? Might be relatively cheaper, and hence makes it affordable.
Yeah, I mean, another aspect to that question would be, how much, like how many years warranty do you have on your products generally?
Generally, let's say the standard is the 1 year. You're able to expand this at a little bit of cost, but the standard is, as it is for everyone, a year. And then I believe that there's a certain fee involved that you're also able to, let's say, include in the purchase of the vehicle, where you're able to expand it to 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years.
Okay. Maybe one last question. This is from my end. I also want to think about what can you say about the used? Do you have a like, in terms of your used products, do you have a storage for this? Do you think you have a market to also look into the used truck space? And what are the opportunities there, maybe for companies who cannot afford to buy the new ones upfront?
Absolutely. We do have a used department as well. We, next to selling, let's say, in between these 50 and 60,000 new vehicles annually, we also have a separate department that sells an approximate 12 to 15,000 used vehicles annually. So we do not only, and especially in Europe, let's say, we do not only sell new vehicles, we also exchange new vehicles for old vehicles, let's say. So if a large client is looking to buy, for example, in Europe, it's very usual that some clients buy 1,000 vehicles at once. Then he is also able to exchange his used vehicles, which we then will sell on his behalf, etc., etc. So we do have a lot of used vehicles as well. It's a very large part of our business. So short answer to your question, yes, most definitely we do have a very large used vehicle park as well.
Okay, last but not the least, I mean, you mentioned that you are also interested in finding partners for local assembly.
Absolutely.
Apart from that, what are your like go-to partners for Nigeria, if you can talk about that? Or what type of partner will be the ideal for you apart from local assembly?
Well, this is very much open to discussion, let's say. This is, we have a concept, for example, for our general cargo vehicles, also for the refrigerated vehicles. Let's say the assembly concept is rather easy. It's easy. It's easy to step into. You do not necessarily, and especially in the beginning, need to have a capacity of, I don't know, name 100 trucks a month or so. That's 100 vehicles a month. You can start easily. For example, if you look at our general cargo vehicle, where we have these curtain-sided bodies, if we were to deliver, let's say, a chassis separate with a body separate, depending on the legislation, of course, in terms of the customs duties, it can be really easy to build up such a vehicle. So if you look at this general cargo body with a curtain-sided body on top, then you're looking at 2 people working an approximate 8 hours. Let's say if they are skilled workers, they would need an approximate 8 hours to build up the entire body on that vehicle. So to step in is rather easy, and so let's say with a minimum investment, you would already have a capacity of, let's say, 5-6 vehicles a week. So as said, it really, it's this looking for a partner. This is very much open to discussion, because for what type of a partner are we looking for? Of course, we would like to have someone, let's say, with at least a little bit of focus in this commercial vehicle market. But it's yeah, the entry level is low. Let's say we're able to have a very wide range of partners, and it can be very attractive, for example, for large companies to see it as a complementary product, let's say, to if they're selling trucks, or if they're I don't know, doing something else in this industry. It can be seen as a complementary part, and this business can grow, let's say, however this business goes. But next to this, it can also, for example, be a smaller company for which it is a very large part of their business, and it's still very attractive. So what type of partner are we looking for? Of course, it would be an enormous benefit if you have contacts in that commercial vehicle market. That is something that is required, of course, but stepping in is it's not too difficult, I would say. So we need a minimum amount of training to assemble these vehicles, because all of our vehicles are set up in such a way that the assembly part of it is relatively easy. You have to imagine that, let's say, if you want to produce a trailer every 6 minutes, it cannot be too difficult to assemble it, because then we lose capacity. So that's how these vehicles are set up. The vehicles are set up to make it easy to assemble. And that's also a major advantage to our brand. And again, I said, the partner that we're looking for has contacts in the industry. The rest of for these partners, let's say, the entry level is rather low and can be, as said, can be seen as a complementary product. And that's a way to get in. And this market is enormous. So there's a potential.
Very good. Thank you very much, Dinant, for doing justice to the topic and for presenting this very exciting business opportunity to the Nigerian market. I would just like to ask you to please leave your contact details in the chat box, just in case anyone wants to reach out directly to you. And if you also like to speak with them, you can also write me an email. That's not a problem. I would also link you with them. I think we have come to the end of this product webinar. It's been a pleasure having you all with us for this quick 1 hour. It almost seemed like we've just only been here for 15 minutes. It didn't seem like an hour. So once again, thank you, everyone. Just before we close this webinar, is part of our project called the West African Food Processing and Logistics Project by the Africa Business Network. We thank you for taking time out to listen to Dinant and Kwasi for these few minutes. Without any further ado, I'd like to say, do all have a good afternoon ahead, and we hope to receive your questions afterwards. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too.